Hello and thanks for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. We have just 39 more days to the conduct of the 2019 election in Nigeria, as each passing day brings us closer to the all-important polls. Always keep a date with us for an in-depth analysis of and information about that particular election. So we're counting down, and our countdown says it's 39 days to the presidential election. Today on the program, Buhari inaugurates APC Presidential Campaign Council as Obasanjo, Atiku and Saraki meet in Lagos over 2019 election. INEC raises the alarm over 8 million unclaimed PVCs. And later on the show, soldiers vacate Daily Trust premises as military blames invasion on publication of plans in the war against insurgency. I'll be hanging out with Charles Ideho, Martins Oloja, and Sam Ibemere. So Babajide Kolade Otoju is in town now, and tomorrow is going to be joining us. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. It's about 5 weeks to the commencement of the general election in Nigeria, and citizens are inundated by a seeming lull in the political arena. Not much is happening in form of those campaign billboards you see, the adverts you see on TV, the radio jingle, except for occasional meetings. In one of such parleys, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Senate President, that is Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, met in Lagos on Sunday, ostensibly to perfect strategies for the February 16 polls. For the All Progressive Congress, APC, it has inaugurated the Presidential Campaign Council for the 2019 election. At the inauguration of the council in Abuja this Monday, President Muhammadu Buhari reiterated his commitment to a free, fair, and credible general election, insisting that votes of Nigerians must count. Let us hear President Buhari and some APC chieftains at the event earlier.
A victory for us as a party is a victory for all well-meaning Nigerians who are committed to change from an inglorious past where those in position of public trust willfully took for themselves what belongs to all of us, where the security of our citizens was second place to their acquisition of unwholesome wealth, where our economic growth was sacrificed for the fleeting ease of import dependency.
There will always be division, otherwise we won't be human beings. So there is newspaper noise, and there's the noise on the ground. As far as I know, in Oyo State, Mr. President will win Oyo State hands down.
It's in the interest of Nigerians to be able to understand that the next few weeks will actually determine the future development of this country. And you know, the truth is the kind of infrastructure that we have put in place, either in Lagos or across the country, you need to, redouble the efforts to create such infrastructure across other parts of the country.
President Muhammadu Buhari, Abiola Ajimobi of Oyo State, and Akinwumi Ambadi of Lagos State. Gentlemen, I raised one observation earlier. In 2014, 2015, by this time, 39 days to election, 40 days to election, for media practitioners like us and broadcast and at least print, you've been seeing wraparound, you've been seeing those ones.
Yes. The above the line, below the line.
A lot of noise.
The billboards and everything. What is happening? What's happening?
Well, nothing is happening, and you can say it is significant to note this, that nothing is happening. Even in in MKO's time.
1993.
Even children by this time will say, you can see the member on the march again, on the march again, MKO is our man. You know, children all over the place. Yes, but now there is no quotable quote. There is no, it's just accusation, counter-accusation that you are more corrupt than this one, and this one is more corrupt than this one. No, who was responsible for this corruption? Who was responsible for that? No issue. For a country, a very important country like this, like Nigeria, the most populous black nation in Africa, and the strategic center of the black race. The most populous black race on earth, Nigeria. And then we are going after 20 years. I think we should enhance democratization as a process. Election is not an event, it's a process. And this is a time that even students learn certain things from newspaper and interviews and all those things like that. You just read articles, you read something. But we are reading articles about insecurity, we are reading articles about deaths, we are reading killings here and there, but not from issues that people who want to lead, people who want to remain in power, people who seek to lead, are not telling us what is wrong with the country. What they want to do, they have some paperwork, but they have not been telling us. We have not been seen in the media. They are not advertising. They are not granting interviews. One governor now was just talking about media noise. Is it noise that we want to hear? Is that the way they want to canvass issues about the country, about nation building? People are talking about restructuring. They are not even talking about it anymore. It used to be an issue. Restructuring of what? This is the time to tell the nation that this is the kind of restructuring we want to do. These are the things to restructure. This is how to begin. This is where we are going. Let us talk about the timeline for restructuring. But we are not seeing all these things. Newspapers people are not gathering in the morning to see what has happened. We used to gather where they sell newspapers to read what somebody has said. And the National Publicity Secretary, we even remember Second Republic, Ebinotopsy, and Uba Ahmed, all of them like that, and even Akinloye as chairman of the party. You know, he will say something, and the chairman of another party, even Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was getting people to even Ikene in those days. Editors will go there because there were issues. You will expect a front page story, you will expect something with data at that time, without internet, without anything. But this day, every well is dry. You cannot find anything. Is it because people do not have knowledge of what to do? Or what is it? What is going on? Maybe my colleagues will know what is wrong with this.
Let me ask my friend, IDO.
Well, I think for me, it's dryness. It's quite sad. By this year we have just entered, we will be 20 years old in this unbroken democracy. That in 20 years we're still crawling. I'm using it loosely, because by now, I think hello people say, oh, they still call 20 years old democracy a nascent democracy. I say, how old does it take for nascency to remain? By now, we're supposed to have even gone there. Now, look at when he went back, memory lane. We're talking about Biola. During the analog days.
Yes.
Analog days.
Coming back to 1993.
Exactly.
That's coming back to even 2003
and so. By now, we're supposed to even have been regaled with the issue of what the manifestos are, who is going to do. That was why, in fact, the general law you talked about now, when the article came out with the article plan, everybody sat up. Then you now had APC coming out with the next level. Oh, and I said to myself, I said, oh, we're going to have, I said the media is going to be very busy. Because when you had, but no sooner than they brought it, everything went downhill.
And don't forget, we're not even talking about the two only political parties.
No. Well,
now
they're the most
glaring now distracted.
Oh, exactly. Now, are you not, by now we're supposed to even be dealing with issues. Oh, the article plan, what does it portend for Nigeria's future? Oh, the next level to what? All these things are supposed to have been dominating the media, whether they are above the line media or the below the line media, and then the social media. But nobody's asking questions. And even more guilty are all of the electorate. They're not asking questions. Oh, Atiku is this, Buhari is this. Oh, the question is that, how do we get from this point A to point B? Nobody's asking that question. Oh, this is mine is going to be flawed. Oh, this one they has stolen so much money. And we have left the germane issue that's supposed to take us to the proverbial Eldorado, which all of us we have always desired. And that's why I say it's quite sad. If 20 years of democracy, we have not moved, in quote, an inch to where we should be respected in the community of nations. So to where even people can even look up to Nigeria to say, okay, let's go copy from them. To where people can even say, okay, do you know what's happening? If you want democracy in Africa, go to Nigeria. But what do we have? General law.
It's like we are so set in our ways to the extent that we've all made up our minds. Even media people,
yes.
we are complicit in this. That look, these are the political parties, and nothing will touch them. Nobody is talking about Fela Drotoye. Nobody is talking about
Mogalu and all the
brilliant man. Nobody is talking about Antiobi Ezekiel. Nobody is looking at their plans for Nigeria. Nobody is ready to give them any chance.
Any chance at all.
It's like the ambition is dead on arrival.
I think that what you have just said might not be entirely correct, because as a media practitioner myself, I've seen stories. They may be far and in between on the likes of Ezekwesili, and the rest of them. You see, but one thing we must appreciate is that when you started, you said nothing is happening.
Or nothing seems to be happening.
Or nothing seems to be happening. I think that we need to take a very sober look of it. There could be something happening, Ayo. And that thing could be, a change in our political culture, where the emphasis is shifting from noise-making to actualities, where people are looking at what is on the table, what they can feel, what they can take away from, from governance. And I think that is one thing I think we should have avert, our minds to. Yes, the lesser elements, if you want to, call them that, may not be getting all the media, attention and the rest of them. But I think that in terms of culture, you find that our politicians used to throw a lot of money into campaign. But I must admit that there is a very serious financial squeeze. And that is because the man at the helm of affairs seems to have tightened up a lot of things.
To make sure
there's not so much money to throw around. Okay? We must appreciate that. All right? You put money into it because you believe something is going to come out of it. Now people are so unsure. Politicians are so unsure.
Move money
so it's pretty very tight. The anti-corruption agencies are watching everybody. Not too long ago we heard about what happened, how money was being ferried, and how some people were caught and all that. And there are issues over who could that money, belong to. So it's very important that we also take a very sober look, at what is evolving. I think that rather than all the noise that that is out there, we should be looking at substance. That is very important. The other issue I think we should also appreciate is that there's a lot happening at the social media level. We need to look at the demographics. Out of the 80 million registered voters, or 84 million registered voters that INEC has announced, we hear that over 50-something% of them are youths. And we know where most of these youths congregate, the social media. So if you have observed that media space, over time, you would have observed that a lot of attention, a lot of campaign is also going on at that, at that level. So I think that quietly, a few things are changing, largely because there is not much money to be thrown at some of these things that we're talking about. And I think that if over time we move from all the noise making to paying attention to substance, it's going to do our politics a lot of good.
I think I quite disagree. Last point of what he made, even as much as excuse me, that the youth are quite very busy and very active in the social media. But the essence of people coming to seek your mandate, they're not being discussed. What you have basically...
But there are engagements going on there.
The engagement is more or less...
The engagement transformed to votes.
No,
ultimately, will they come out?
Apart from that, Ayo, apart from that,
mostly,
Sam, they are really busy, but do you know, half of what is happening is a campaign of calumny, campaign of throwing banters and throwing mobs at each other. What I want to hear is that even the actors, I'm even supposed to see the actor even using all this social media to try to let people know their actions. Okay, for instance,
and
now
I thought somebody like Atiku is so prepared that he has a policy document that highlights all those things. Where are those things? Why are they not bringing that out?
Exactly what I'm saying.
I think that we're just...
All you find is
I think we're used to the traditional way of these things being done. Let's just cast our minds back. What happened in Tunisia? What happened in Egypt? The revolution which took place happened because there was a lot of activity around social media. That's the truth.
What we are saying, we are not saying that nothing is happening. We are saying that in this age when elections have become media issues, can you remember some maybe four key issues that some of the people who are seeking to lead us at a time like this are telling us, either in the social media, beyond the silent army that they have there, attacking people. If you even write something that is critical of this, they attack you. They attack you. What are the issues being canvassed about Nigeria in the next...
That we can hold.
Even moving to the so-called next level. So, are there issues that are being canvassed in the social media, in the print media, in the electronic, apart from interviews that we have to do compulsorily when you get...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So they're not telling us anything.
About the issues with Nigeria that we are not making significant progress. If people want to lead us, why do they want to lead us? You mentioned some people now, Lafayette and all those things, told me, I do not take some of them, they are brilliant, but they do not have organizational structure through which they can even get to the people. Most people do not know them. Some of them who are canvassing at this time are still even writing their columns that they write in the newspaper. They have time to even write their columns, to write columns instead of
being on the field.
Don't you think these things are tied to budgets? That's my concern.
If the budget is not available for politics at this time, it's a challenge.
Okay.
It's a huge challenge. If you want to seek to lead a vast country of about 200 million people, at this time, 774 local governments, how are you going to get the vote if you are not canvassing?
We are not even reaching them.
You are not traveling all over the country and even people following you.
Yeah, but even the bigger parties that ought to be traveling around to make all this noise that we're talking about.
No, we say it's general. It's general. We're saying it's general.
It's general. Of the state of anomaly. State of anomaly in politics.
I gather that President Buhari now is not doing the regular 36 states.
He's going to be built on zones.
He has done South.
Should it be like that?
Now, Atiku Abubakar has done Sokoto.
Southwest, and yes.
He did Sokoto, he did Ibadan, Oyo State.
That's Southwest.
And after that time, he paused.
So what happens to Bini? What happens to Akure?
So what of the presidential
don't they have the right to hear from them?
What of the governorship candidates? What of the senatorial?
How much of them are you hearing?
Candidates? What of the House of Representative candidates? State Assembly candidates? We are not even
hearing them. It's only presidential. So the thing cuts across board, there's some. And we're not getting much of them. They're not telling us much.
I agree with us completely on this matter. When I spoke, I talked about having a very sober look at this development.
Sobriety.
Do you understand? Pretty very important. Why do we have this?
Let me pick my first caller. Peter is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Peter.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Peter.
Your argument of today is very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Everybody sitting there, you guys are right.
Thank you.
But there's a problem.
Okay.
The problem is there is nobody that can say anything right now because why? Everybody is being threatened. If they can go as far as threatening people in the social media,
that's an angle.
Then any politician that wants to come out and say one word, they will remind him of his corruption problem. They will threaten him. EFC will go to this one's house. The country is in tension. There is no way people can campaign freely. Even the party, so-called party themselves, the ruling party, people inside, even when you are not comfortable, you cannot speak out right now. People are being afraid. The truth of the matter, let's just go straight to the truth, that Nigerians are being afraid. We've never been afraid like this before in our entire life.
Really?
We all are now afraid. So nobody can speak, nobody can do anything. This is the system we are. First thing we need to fight for now is for people to be free, because there's no single Nigerian that is not corrupt.
Okay, thank you for your contribution, Peter. I think our third topic will be able to dwell extensively of what
the media challenge.
The media challenge and what Peter has just said. But ultimately, we're counting down, and we hope to see debates.
Yes.
We hope to see.
Very important.
we hope to see debates. We've seen vice presidential debates, and we had a lot of takeaways, and it was for journalists. It was a news point for a long time.
We fed on it for a while.
For a while.
But they always shortlist. It's not everybody that took part in that debate.
And the problem, we have 92, 93 parties. And I think we have
about 47 or something.
47 presidential candidates.
Yes.
And some of these presidential candidates, I have some of them, they are my friends.
Not mention names.
I won't mention them.
Some of them are my friends.
Do you understand? Just to maintain all righteousness,
exactly.
just
and to show off their CVs.
They're just coming out and no.
You see, even that one itself is a problem, because one of them, even the other day, went to court to say why is it that my own running mate was not, I think specifically went to court. They said that why is it this democracy? This is multi-party democracy.
Do you know, on the contrary, Shore is actually pulling his weight.
Yeah,
in terms of going around the country, in terms of campaigning, in terms of visibility.
Very vital too.
If you check Facebook Live, if you check all his activities, you
discover that that's right.
He's
and it's supposed to also even be his will is supposed to be blown across what I want to say about among the youth.
Yes.
But you also find even within the youth.
He calls himself Sebobo.
As against Sebobo. So, but you see, the sad thing is that even within the youth, you're supposed to even say, okay, be raking them up, raking support up among them. Even the youth are the ones who are also campaign for the grandfathers we have in their midst. So where does it go from here? Even really obviously very articulate man,
Charles, it's very interesting, when you talk about the youths. A couple of days back, I was watching, the news item on one of the television stations, and one of the issues, featured had to do with the NANS president.
Yes.
Who drove to the venue in a very luxurious car?
Yes.
Still in school.
Yeah, very luxurious cars. I'd like to emphasize that.
Still in school.
Yes,
not in the days of 14.
No. Yeah,
and
he was promising Mr. President about 20 million votes.
Yes.
If he did the right thing.
They took their.
It tells you that there is something absolutely wrong.
Yes.
One, you want to ask, is he really? Yeah, is he really a student?
He's the president.
Masquerade. Yes. So there are a whole lot of issues, and that's why we should commend the likes of Shore for what he has done.
In terms of determination.
He may have challenges. When he was excluded from that,
he went to court.
He just didn't go to court. There are several others who spoke out and were asking why shouldn't this chairman be part of it.
We should take it as part of limitation in this, because it's a multi-party democracy. Yeah. You see that you can find even a multimedia system where you can organize this debate. It depends on organization. You can get all of them to debate.
Yes.
Because it's a multi-party democracy. They are all candidates.
You can take them
now,
in segments.
We can ask about even criteria now for choosing the people who should debate. Because these are part of the issues we say are limiting what people should be learning from. Like I said earlier, as a student, I used to read newspapers, will take notes of good sentences, good quotes from some of these people who are engaging to build. But nobody has anything to learn from this.
What is happening now?
From this.
All right. Okay. When we return, INEC raises the alarm over 8 million unclaimed permanent voter cards. PVC. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
the hangout today.
Yes, in case you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. In Nigeria's democratic experience, it appears that the desire to become a registered voter and the urge to actively partake in the voting process are different ballgame. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is not happy that some eligible voters are taking actions capable of hurting the process by refusing to collect their permanent voter cards, PVCs. INEC Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Oluwole Osaze Uze, said over 8 million PVCs are yet to be collected. 8 million. Yet, the onus lies on those who had registered to collect such cards for the purpose of voting. Are we in for another round of voter apathy, gentlemen? I thought at a point in time in 2018, no, I thought in 2017, 2018, the advocacy for PVC was so high, and the way people turned out, people were coming and going to register and everything, that I thought people would cap it up by doing the last part of it, by picking that PVC. Yes. We can't be having out of 80 million.
I mean, 80 million, 8 million not collected.
No, as in
uncollected.
The number of people
registered.
that are registered to partake in this maybe my producer will help me. 83 million or 80 million? 84 million.
Yes.
And you can't be having 8 million people
who have not collected
their PVC. Now, from this statistic, we have 47.14 female across the country, yes, and we have 52.86 male. And in all, 84 million over 84 million Nigerians, yes, will participate in that exercise that is scheduled to take place in the next 39 days. But interesting, Lagos is giving us the highest. Lasgidi is saying over 6 million people are registered to vote. These are not the number of people registered to vote. I think people with their PVCs, because yes, that's 6.5.
That's right.
Followed by Kano. Kano is over 5 million. And
Ekiti is the lowest.
I think Ekiti is the lowest. It used to be Bayelsa. So Ekiti is just sub 1 million people that we participate in that exercise. So Lagos, Kano, big factor. So if any party is going to pick, that's why if any party is going to make a kind of headway, should be looking at working hard. In Lagos, gentlemen, what does this portend?
Well, first of all, let's look at what could have been responsible for the seeming apathy. First, personally, when the process was going on, then I had time to move around and to have people just feel their pulse and so on. Yes, you are quite right. There was this enthusiasm.
Even in churches, yes, in mosques, they were telling everybody, go and get your PVC.
Organizations were responsible, were trying to sack people up to say, okay, they have this civic responsibility to make sure they have that. But when you look at the process at that time, people were waking up as early as 5 a.m. to go queue up.
Collecting tally.
They were giving them numbers and so on. Yeah. So when you go once, you go second time, and then even when you now eventually register, then the enthusiasm is already dampened. Then you also have the issue of are some of them already are they still alive, the owners of these cards? And then you also think about that. So some of them could have passed on. Because in a society where you don't have clear-cut record,
some people are even complaining about the attitude of said. So it's difficult.
When it's going to now go back to now pick those. So this is cost across all states. You have 36 states plus Abuja, and you have about 8 million. So and there is this movement, and because of lack of people, a lot of people don't have this job that can tie them up in one place. So they register here, And then they move to the next. Somebody in Imo State, who they tell Imo State could have something that will be interesting in Benin. And then he gets to Benin. From Benin, he moves on. So when you put all this together, I say these are the things that are the probable reasons why the number is quite high.
Martin.
Well, definitely, you know, these are critical factors that is mentioning. We should also not forget that some of these people now, in the last 20 years of democracy, they will be asking,
what
yes, what has been
what
in
changes
it
have come?
for me? What is it? Apart from what I can get on the day if they give me something before election,
stomach infrastructure.
Stomach infrastructure. Where are the dividends of democracy? What can get people to, yes, a lot of people have collected their own. Yeah. But we should also know that if we look at some data, you see that this thing has been falling. In 1999, it was 52%. In 2003, it was 69%. 2007, it was 57%. 2011, it was 54%. And 2015, 44%. And now look at problems arising since that time. We'll get people, okay, what is it? Why this democracy? This is a warning signal to politicians that they have not been behaving well. Right. They have not, they talk about constituency projects, but the projects are not visible. We are not seeing the projects. And that economy is not improving, critical infrastructure not improving, and so many things like that. They can tell us that, no, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are commissioning this, we are commissioning that. What has been in it for the common man? In the north, what he has been in it for the common people. In the south-south, in the southwest, I wrote something the other day, and I asked, even all these people who are talking about rotational presidency, let it come to my region, let it come to my region. Heads of states that have been involved since 1999. The president from Southwest who began this process in 1999 to 2007. There is no road to Ota.
Okay, I have this call.
No good road. No good road. No good road. What of South person?
Gentlemen, let me take this call from Kaduna.
Oloja. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. Please, I want to make contributions with regards to the claim by INEC that 8 million voters cards are unclaimed. I think this is a propaganda. I am calling you from Kaduna, and in the centers here, particularly I mentioned, let me give an instance of Kaduna South, where we registered since January up to today. We have, January last year, up to today, we have not received our voters card. And we don't know what is happening. Kaduna South, opposite the police station. And a lot of, you will see queue, you will see crowd. We believe that INEC to say 8 million voters cards are uncollected is a propaganda. I don't want to believe that. So please,
Thank you.
If they want to know
at the risk of not being accused of speaking on behalf of INEC, but what will it benefit INEC for keeping those 8 million? I think to crown their efforts, what he's saying, what he has just raised now, I'm sure most of those things are attached to logistics. How to get it down to the grassroots. How to.
But sorry, can you make a sorry, Sam. Let me quickly make a suggestion. Well, maybe it's fine. I mean, what stops INEC? For instance, okay, in bank, you go to bank, you want to pick your debit card. You didn't collect it that day. They send you a text message that your debit card is ready. Why I'm saying that
some banks are now, you just fill that form.
As I'm saying, it's immediate.
They'll print it immediately.
But in case doesn't come that day. But okay, what stops INEC? What stops INEC from sending all these people messages that their cards are ready so they can go there and pick it? Couldn't they do that?
Additional costs.
No,
I'm sure Osaze will pay me for
this. That's where I was headed, you know, because in all this, there should be, it presents an opportunity for us to learn. How innovative is INEC, you know, getting over time? Yes. Because the fact of the matter is that you can actually register and pick your PVC at the point where you have registered.
Actually, real time.
So it's
latest technology.
Yeah, so
what the banks are doing.
The banks are doing it.
even while
Walk up there, fill that form.
Yeah, even while we may be concerned about the 8 million PVCs, yet uncollected, I would have bothered about the distribution. What parts of the country and all that. I know the stats are readily available because, in some critical parts of the country, especially up north, you have issues of insecurity and the rest of them. So while we concede that INEC could have challenges, we want to increasingly over time see how innovation can help us improve on our systems. That's very important. We shouldn't, by this time next year, be talking about people coming back to pick their PVC after they have registered. See, IT has made it possible for these things to be dealt with right there at the moment.
Real time.
We don't want these excuses anymore.
We're talking about
The issues, the issues raised by our friend in Kaduna, Ayo, replicates itself all over the country. It's the truth. People have complained, people have expressed frustration at the trying to pick their cards.
The queue
it's very painful.
From 5 a.m.
We shouldn't be going through this in the next dispensation. We shouldn't, really. And that's why anything that has to do with improving our electoral processes must be taken very seriously.
No, talking about this improvement, I've covered some international...
Because I wanted to ask you.
Yes. Okay.
A lot of people now, we have 84 million people with their PVC, supposedly. But ultimately, when you now see how the statistics and the graphics of how the next president will emerge, you will so much be disappointed that in all the exercise, there might be less than 20 million people.
20 million that will actively participate.
Is that the one the students have promised, Mr. President?
So what is responsible for this trend? And a lot of people will say, look, I spoke with a young man yesterday that, you have your PVC. He said, yes, but he's not interested. He told me already that he's not interested to come out. He's talking about being torn in between the Butiku option. That's Buhari and Atiku.
There's a voter apathy. That's why I said earlier that, these political leaders should note that people are not enthusiastic even about democracy. Not to talk of the dividend itself. Democracy is about the people. And the people themselves are not interested in even talking to the people, which we discussed earlier. They are not mobilizing people. Even the political parties are just, sometimes they just grant interviews, they write columns here and there, all these candidates. They are not, I see some posters around my own place. The person has never, I have never seen the person, I've never seen the woman. We only see that people come into the house there and go out. They have never come to where I live, in a close, not even a street, in a close.
To come and canvass.
To come and even canvass. And is contesting in a particular area where she lives. But she doesn't talk to anybody. She has not visited anybody, no poster, nothing. Why have been even asking? How do these people win elections? They themselves know how they win elections. And at the end of the day, they don't talk to people who say,
you're not one of them.
One of the voters say, no, we know how we win our elections.
You are not one of them.
And yes, I'm not one of them.
I think close to that is the issue of this feeling of my vote won't count.
Yes,
I think we need to encourage
Nigerians.
If it didn't count, we wouldn't be talking about the Buhari. We wouldn't be talking about the Buhari administration.
Yes,
of course it did.
It counted in 2015.
It could still count.
Definitely.
And the vote may make some difference.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The vote may make some difference.
You can change the look and feel of the National Assembly.
I think it's first past the post.
We shouldn't lose hope. We should not lose hope.
And you can even change the texture of the House of Assembly, the state of Assembly.
Yes.
Actually, your vote can count.
It can count.
Okay, moving on now. The war against Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria's northeast is becoming an edgy affair. The military on Sunday became irritated by some newspaper publications when soldiers invaded the Abuja and Maiduguri offices of Daily Trust and whisked away 2 journalists. But the outrage that created the action did not last long. before the presidency ordered the soldiers to vacate the premises. According to the statement signed by a senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, the military complied with the order. Defense spokesman Brigadier General John Agim also confirmed the development, explaining that the military invaded offices because the medium made a publication that revealed plans of the military in fighting insurgency. Are we back to the debates of which between national security and human rights should take preeminence? I think Martin actually brought a copy, and I told my producer too earlier. It was Daily Trust of Sunday.
Yeah.
And I have.
That's it. Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the
Okay.
headline.
Okay.
Yes.
I think this was my producer. We
Yes.
show us the clip, but ultimately, Daily Trust dating the 6th of January, and that particular headline is like military prepares massive operation to retake Baga, orders, assembles thousands of troops, equipment, ISIS affiliates, ISWAP on mass recruitment drive, group imposes tax on locals, 10,000 displaced. Freedom of the press. Where do I start from? Martin. Because I know some
it's
more depressed.
It's not a laughing matter. This is our own affair.
That's right.
And I think that our responsibility is to speak truth to power. But specifically, if we don't want to be arrogant, we don't want to demarcate, we don't want to do that it's been displayed.
Yes.
You know that I believe that
Okay.
Daily Trust is a very responsible newspaper. Daily Trust is edited by professionals. It's even owned by professionals. And if you follow them over the years, well, they are professional.
They have followership.
It's a followership. Yes, they are pro-not. You can't take that word from them.
Publication.
And they have been very organized. Even they are organized, they are professional, and they do a lot of things. If you read the story itself, and I think that they are ungrateful to the Daily Trust, because Daily Trust has not published something that is
That
not...
is your own perspective.
My own perspective, that they didn't do well to Daily Trust. They shouldn't take the law into their hand and resort to self-help. If you discover that an organization has broadcast or even reported something like that, you should know what to do. By invading all their offices at the same time in a democracy. The head office in Abuja, their office in Kaduna, in Maiduguri, and at the same time, and
in Lagos.
even in Lagos, and then you beam this to the world that this is, the Western press regards the continent as a country. They do not, in their own narrative, they do not even regard Africa. So this one will appear in one of the Western organs of mass communication, in one of the newspapers, they will say, oh, the military people have invaded the press in one country. They will even say in Africa, but they will regard Africa as a country. That is the way they see Africa. So this is not a very good story. And it's not just speaking for Daily Trust, that this one is to intimidate the press. That, look, if we can do this one to Daily Press, in the Daily Trust, that is based in Abuja, that we will come for you at any time. And it was not even a good story again that the president had to direct them to vacate in a democracy in 21st century, after 20 years into this democracy. And I think it's not a good story at all. And I think they should know, the military authorities should manage whatever they think is not correct, whatever they think has been done, because whatever they say here, there is another editorial, I think, which they may find very offensive. They say federal government is running out of excuses in their comment of that same yesterday. And then even on Saturday, there was an interview by a former DG of State Security Service, Gadzama, about what to do. And there he suggested a number of things that need to be done. And all this combination of these factors may have led to this. But then the military authorities have been revealing what they have been doing too. The military chiefs have been meeting, And television has been covering it. They themselves have been issuing statements through even PR Nigeria and some other sources of information about what they are doing. Yes, we know that we should not do certain things, but they themselves have been revealing most of these things to when we have been carrying that.
Our freedom.
And so I do not
How
see.
far can our freedom...
So what should be our role? Maybe
yes.
what should be our role
in terms of national security?
The freedom of the press is not limitless.
Okay.
So it's not without borders. Because there's a limitation to which we can even go to town with certain information. First, when we even disseminate information, we have to also balance it. Is it for national interest, or can it compromise national security?
Yes,
so that's where we always have this scale. Before we can go to town, all these banner headlines.
At this time that the military,
we must have to look at exactly
so hard to
So that's what I'm
wrestle.
saying, that we have to have that responsibility as media men to before we go to press, look at whether will it jeopardize what we already have on ground in terms of insecurity. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, I think what's just happened in the case of Daily Trust is one of the vestiges of the military leadership in Nigeria. I think what the military will be doing, the authorities will be doing is that maybe we'll have to go back again to reorientating the military about how to interact with the civil populace. Because if, for instance,
the police would have done
exactly. Okay, I could have even said, why don't you even go to DSS?
To the place?
Yes.
The DSS
Why
or
could
the
I even
police
go to
would have...
DSS?
They didn't even need that.
Because what they have done now,
if I thought
is even bad press.
They were there to invite the editors.
Yes. Even I think the editor was even out of town.
Yes.
He said he was driving to Abuja when he was called a number of times. So it's even bad press.
For the military to invade
all the offices.
I don't think there's even a single line in our statute book where you have the military having any authority to do what they did now. No.
They went to police.
If you had any cause,
they went with some
yes,
policemen.
if you had any cause to do this, all you need to do is that there are processes. Because we are not a country that is governed by martial arts. Democracy. We are governed by constitution, and this constitution has processes. If somebody wronged you, there's a process for you to follow. For you to, because is this not a banana republic? So I think the military has to not only just vacate, they have to apologize to Daily Trust and the Nigerian press. Honestly, because what they have done now is bad press for them at all.
Does this publication in any way tamper with national security? As in the military guys, they are planning operation. Well, let's say they might be planning something to take over Baga. Is it right for the Daily Trusts to put the modus operandi and everything in
I think
this publication
before I get to the issue of national security, I think we should put what transpired in context.
Okay.
In the last couple of months, late last year and of course early this year, the military has been quite edgy, ostensibly from losses, on the battlefront. All of us we're all very familiar with what happened in Metele, Baga, and the rest of them. A lot of men lost, equipment lost, and of course, grounds were lost. They lost territories. In fact, in one instance, we were told that they lost about 6 communities, somewhere in the northeast. So I think that is what put the military, part of what put the military on the edge. Apart from that, even international observer groups like the Amnesty International, had been taking swipes, have been taking swipes at the military. So but as journalists, we have a job to do. It's a very sacred duty that we have, and that duty is to report the facts. But the challenge, facts are sacred. But the challenge here is, how do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line between national security and doing your job? I mean, if you have facts to take to the public, you want to do that. But we're also trained to ensure that we don't, overstep our bounds. I mean, the argument has been made here, and that argument is that if you feel that your interest has been hurt, get procedural. Follow the right channel, not to take laws into your hand. It's not up to the military to define what is national interest. That's just the truth. We're also stakeholders. Journalists are also stakeholders in the enterprise called Nigeria.
The people's right to know.
So it's important.
Okay, I have Femi calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Femi.
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Femi. Sir.
Yeah, I'm a journalist too.
Oh, thank you.
The gentleman in white,
Okay.
I quite appreciate him.
Thank you, sir.
Whatever we really want to report, let us be very careful about it. One, national interest. Two, is it the facts? We were trained to always know the facts. We were trained to always find out from the authorities. Yes, Odumbaku said they can go to court, they can go to where, but we should have done the damage
before then.
Please, we have to be very careful.
Short. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that response, Femi. Thank you for that response.
You know, there is an issue. And you know, we said facts are sacred. I want to ask any question, and one question, maybe the answer may be blowing in the wind. You know, what is the nexus between the publication of facts that by the military authorities that no community had been lost to the control of Boko Haram in their recent engagement, and the publication that they were relaunching to retake
what they didn't
the
lose.
Word,
what they didn't
retake
lose.
What they didn't lose.
What they didn't lose.
Contradiction.
Contradiction, because they said that no, they didn't lose anything, no authority. But you know that the first person to draw attention to this was Sani Zoro, one of us, at the House of Representatives, who cried out in the chambers that they were to move from Maiduguri to Yobe, and that they couldn't move. And the governor of Borno State held a press conference where he cried out that in the last few months, which had been reported here, that it's
been nuts.
Yes. And then they said people were running from Baga to Maiduguri. It was reported. And now they said that no, no community will be under siege at this time. We want to conceal that information. We as journalists, if we find out that really some communities, if we didn't report it, how will the people take us as journalists? That some communities, even Gazama, who granted an interview on Saturday to the Daily Trust on Saturday, is from Borno State, and he had a lot of refugees at home. And here a lot of leaders from the area. If we keep quiet, and the authorities said that they didn't lose communities, and then they now published that they are launching to retake, that could have caused some anger. Whether it was what caused some anger, the answer may be blowing in the wind.
But again, final note, I say that the military has to also exercise a lot of restraint in the way they carry out some of these things. If you feel that you have been wrong, there are ways to go procedural. Even the military, I mean, something last year, if you remember, when there was this issue of Operation Last Hold. If you remember Operation Last Hold, where they said they wanted to clear the Lake Chad region. Even the military had a world press conference to tell us about how they were going to be molding blocks, how they were going to be helping the fishers on the... these were plans they had. They were already telling us. And I keep saying it. When Osama bin Laden was everywhere in the whole world, he was dominating the press, the American government that were after him, I didn't see when there was issue of where they told us bullet point by bullet point what they were going to do. All we heard from Obama, we got him. After they had done all this. But even the military is even angry about this publication. They have over time be giving us, be having press conferences about what they want to do. I say, if you want to have press, say what you have done, not what you are going to do.
Sam?
I think the military should see the media as strategic partners. And that's
important.
Yeah, very, very, very important. Like I argued earlier, we all have stake in this enterprise, and I think that the media has acquitted itself well over time, especially in its immediate task of informing and educating the populace.
I want to thank you, Sam Bemere. I want to thank you for coming on this edition, and I want to thank you, Charles Idao, for being part of this edition. And Martins, Happy New Year. Thank you for being back. And I told you earlier that the eagle just landed, and tomorrow.
The business
Babajide Kolade Otitoju will be joining us live and direct on the show. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And you can also watch us on other platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.